Wow. If you're wanting Twilight to make a reappearance in the real world, then this is the book for you. Did you like Where the Crawdads Sing? Then this is the book for you. What am I talking about, friends? I'm talking about Midnight is the Darkest Hour. And it's been way too long for me to have given a book 5 stars. But I have finally given a book 5 stars, and it was a fucking thriller. Hi friends, and welcome to my channel where I review a darker, fun, romance, fantasy, sci-fi books. I review them all. I do my reviews in 2 parts. The first part is spoiler free to test the waters, see if you want to read the book after I tell you how I feel. And then I will do a part 2, second half of the review, where I will do a spoiler review and talk more things so you have time to click away and it won't be ruined for you. I am a mess today, clearly. Thoughts come, mouth work. Okay, we're gonna try this now. And don't forget, if you'd like to get your own copy of the book because you're interested after listening to my review, then make sure you use the bookshop.org link below. At no extra cost to you, I do get a small percentage of the sale, and it's also a great way to support an indie bookstore of your choice. It is an online shopping tool that allows you to buy books online without using Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Okay. I have too much to say about this book, so we're just going to get into it. First up, I'm going to read the synopsis I wrote. A small Louisiana town is shaken after a skull is found in the swamp. But not just any skull, it belongs to one of their own, a small business owner, a man with a checkered past. The skull isn't found on any random night, but on the same night the sheriffs are looking into a string of vandalism. Strange symbols have been carved into the trees around the swamp. At the news, Ruth fears this could be the end. Her secret could finally come out, and being the prominent preacher's daughter, she is not supposed to have a past. A shy girl growing up, Ruth never made friends. Either she was too awkward, or no one wanted to mess with the daughter of the town's most powerful man. That is, until she meets Ever, a boy that's as outcasted as her. He doesn't judge her, though, and the fantasy world she's begun to weave in her head comes to life. Could Ever be the man she's read about in her books, or will the night they met haunt them? Could Ever be the low man that everyone fears more than God himself? I won't say that was my best review, but it's here. I would also like to blame this book for forcing me to read my book club book in a single 24-hour period, because after reading this book, I was in such a book hangover that I wasn't able to read another book all weekend long. Okay, that is, not only was this a 5-star read, this book gave me a hangover. A really bad one. Yes, I know that there are problems with this book. I know that any one person can sit here and tell me that the protagonist, there are issues with her. There are arguably issues with her and how she was written. But I still loved this fucking book. Somehow I was able to see past that, and everything else that I ever want in a story was here. Ruth just lets things happen to her. That is my biggest complaint. That and the reason she makes decisions are not fully fleshed out or explained, or even a believable answer to what's happening to her. We have delusional problems with her that, again, aren't well explained. I think in a realistic terms that if we were as obsessed with Twilight as she is in the book, we might reach the same ending that she had, especially with her very troublesome childhood. But again, I needed more reasons behind why. I don't care. I don't care you can poke holes in everything. I don't care, because I still loved it. Why? Why did I love this book? Because of the writing. This book is every dream of writing that I want. Remember how I said in my previous reviews about books that sometimes it takes me like 90 pages to get into the writing style and finally be able to immerse myself in the story? This book sucked me in from the first paragraph. I had an issue where I was taking too long to read my October Reading Challenge books, and I was trying to fit a few more in before obligations came my way, and I was trying to decide between, well, I was really just trying to read my 180-page short story that I have been waiting 6 months to be able to read because it just came out by the author who did If We Were Villains. And so I was like, well, I think I'm just going to have to give up on these last 2 books on my October reading list, and I'm just going to have to say goodbye, return them to the library, check them out later, give them another chance. But I stupidly decided to read the first page of this book just to see, is it even worth it? Was I even going to give it a chance, or just knock it off my list entirely and just say, it's a thriller, goodbye. No. Well, that was a horrible idea. Because like I said, I read that first page and I was fucked. I was royally fucked. I wanted to stop living life to read this book. And I haven't done that in forever. Ever. I have not wanted to shirk all of my responsibilities and all of what I was supposed to be doing to pick up a book. Like, I was so excited to take my dog to the dermatologist by myself because I knew I was going to have at least 45 minutes of uninterrupted reading time. This doesn't tell you how much I love this book. I don't know what other examples to give you, but I digress. Going back to the writing. It is so elevated and top-notch for me. It is immersive. It is descriptive. It doesn't spell things out for you. It is here. We see showing. We are not told things. There is this huge town that I would even equate to, say, like Stars Hollow type setting where you have this entire town painted in the story and perfectly executed and built and done. Even though the story has nothing to do with any of that. And in a way, you kind of don't want the town. But the point is, the fact of this wide tapestry of a setting in all of this, just amazing. Just, I can't say enough that the writing entirely is the reason that this book is just what it is. And I'm going to tell you, I'm willing to give Ashley Winstead, here we go, Ashley Winstead's another chance. Because I'm that obsessed. You got me to read a thriller, girl. You got me to read a thriller. The fact that Ever is just the character of my dreams, I mean, that didn't hurt either. The religious topics in the book were also of huge interest to me. I really loved the Southern Book Club's guide to slaying vampires because of Grady Hendrix's ability to really talk about the mental health and the manipulation and the brainwashing of ladies and wives of that time period, and especially things with control settings like this, cult-like tendencies, manipulation. They're a topic that I have interest in. I wouldn't say I personally like, but I have interest in, and religious topics as well. And so the fact that Winstead, I think, had such a great grasp of Southern cities and the religious component to all of them, and the fact of how these leaders of these churches are able to just have so much power and control over it, and half the time they're not even the good people in the city, was just very well done for me. And it reminded me of the elevatedness and the ability that Hendrix had in the same type of thing that he was doing in his book as well, and the quality was really there for both of them. And so I think when you mix that side of it with the fact that it reminded me so much of where the crawdads sing, with like the southeastern United States, the swampiness, a girl trying to just go off on her own and to make her own path, and the mystery of it all with the skull and the swamp, and you just add all that in. And also, I think that where the crawdads sing really came through to me because of the beautiful writing. When you combine those two together, this was just the perfect combination of story and plot and setting and point and message that I was just here for. Now, if you can handle a little bit more gore and rats eating things you can stomach, then if you like Midnight is the Darkest Hour, please give a Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires book a try, because it is really good. I also think that the time jumps work perfectly in this book. I think that we did not spend too much time in them. There was not all this backstory built up to make the time jumps understandable to the reader. They were great and perfectly placed in the story to have just the right reveal that you needed to have the plot twist or the next plot point be believable. I appreciated them, and they were quick and they were interesting, and they felt useful to the story, not just something thrown in so that we could over inundate the book with a bunch of backstory or all this stuff going on to explain away why people are doing what they're doing. Even though I'm complaining about that. You will see when you read the book what I mean, because it's not that we need more explaining to why things are happening the way they're happening. We just need a more believable reason as to why Ruth acts the way that she does. Winstead also does this massively job of balancing this entire fucking town. This entire town, all of them layered the strings connecting them, who the people are. Every time that someone new was introduced into the story, it felt that they were their own flesh and blood character, way more than any of the other books that I had possibly read. Like, if you watch my review to the site, you will know that there are just so many issues with those characters, and unlike that, these are like Z characters who have literally like are just walking down the road, and they themselves are a fully fleshed out character to completely sit into the story, and that is phenomenal. It takes so much skill and a balancing and a juggling inside your own head to be able to not only keep track of this entire cast, but to also make sure that they're their own unique people throughout the whole thing, and that is phenomenal and beautiful and a true art and craftsmanship to Winstead. The story really just went beyond Ruth and Ever. I mean, they are the protagonists of the story. They're the love interests. They're the ones leading the story. Ruth is literally the narrative throughout the entire story. But it was so much beyond them. It was also the manipulation of the entire town, her father, his father, just everything, his mother, the fishing wives. The swamp itself felt like a character. The people that were dead in the swamp, the low man, just everything, the hospital. All of it was just its own important character into the book, and it just gave the story so much breath and life to it that I was not stuck in this tiny little wall. So where, say, like the Caro haunt, which I just reviewed, was stuck in a single house, and we really were just confined to this whole thing, and in a way it worked. It wasn't bad. This is just a living, breathing entity that just flowed and just exploded off the page and added this depth that I think was the reason I got so sucked in as well. I could live in this world. There was a world to live in. What can I say to convince you to read this book? What can I say? Yeah, I don't know. It was just good. It was just really good. And I haven't had a 5-star read in a really long time. And here's my 5-star read. So if you tend to agree with me on my reviews, then I say please give this a chance. Please. Because I have nothing else to say. It was just... read the first page at least. Read the first page, because that is what hooked me in. And if you don't get hooked on the first page, like, I don't know what to tell you. All right, I think that I have rambled on enough for all of y'all. So click away now. I'm going to talk about spoilers, ruin my metrics. It's fine. It's okay. Have a great day. If you like the video so far, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to use my bookshop.org link below to help a girl out. Ruth not leaving, to me, made absolutely no sense. She kept alluding to this big thing that she did that completely ruined her chances to ever run away with Ever. And then you find out in the end, Ever's like, well, thank God you killed my dad. Like, this thing, he was completely tying me down, okay? So yeah, it was just the miscommunication trope to try to, like, explain it to be why she couldn't run away with Ever was just, okay, fine, whatever, that's done. But also, why did Ever have to leave? Why couldn't Ever have stayed in the town this whole time, living in the house, doing other sorts of work? Why was it that he only came back in the summer? Why was it also that he only came back in the summer? Why couldn't he have just, like, be gone for a month and come for a long weekend? Why was it this whole thing that he suddenly was able to take off all this work just to come in the summer? What was it about the summer that they loved so much? Lots of questions. But it was really the religious background and Ruth's abuse as a child and that manipulation that was really hard for me to be able to go along with her idea that she was such a sinner that she couldn't leave anymore. And it wasn't even that. If you want to say that that is the reason that she stayed, is she had this guilt that she was a sinner and she had to stay and repent, was the reason. It just also is incongruous with who she was as a character in general, because you have this person who, like, granted, if it was that bad, which I know it kind of gets painted at the beginning that she was really freaking out after the first murder, in a way, I felt like she would have confessed to her parents if it was that much. This was a living, breathing girl who was fighting for her own independence and finding enough of it. I mean, she was living on her own, okay? She was living on her own. She had a job. She was reading all these books. That is incongruous with someone that would feel that it was their need to be the perfect daughter to represent the Christian faith for her father, and that she had such a strong belief system and all of that, because at the same time she was sneaking out every night doing who knows what random shit with Ever in the woods from the moment that they became friends to later. Like, that is not someone who is so overwhelmed and manipulated and abused to the point that she was essentially brainwashed to stay in the town and to be the perfect preacher's daughter. Like, that does not line up. That is incongruous. If she was fighting enough to be able to run out with Ever every night and not listen to her parents and sneak the book in, that person would have been able to leave at the end. I found it more believable that she wouldn't lapse in and have PTSD to hearing her father's voice or commands than anything else. Because that makes sense. But she was still able to get away. She was still able to say no. Ever leaves and she suddenly stops being herself and is able to go out with someone in the town. Like, none of that makes sense to me whatsoever as a character plot point. And that is where I will agree to the plot holes being poked. And that is where I do struggle with the book. Not enough to not give it 5 stars, because I will just ignore all of that. But there are some big problems there. And it's just, it's hard for me to handle because of my background. But yeah, that doesn't make sense. And I think what makes me angrier is that her staying because of those reasons, ever leaving and not having the connection with her, and then her refusing to leave, just all of that. Like, I don't understand why he had to leave to begin with for the story to work. And I also don't understand why something else couldn't have been used to keep her there. I just don't get it. I want to say that my hangover from the book is also due to the Bonnie and Clyde ending of the fucking book. Here they were. Here was their chance. The true love story was about to happen. Everyone got their flowers. Everyone was handing their flowers. Everyone was playing their parts. Everyone was out of their life that they needed to do. They had done the town a service. They had ended the drug ring. And then they fucking fly off the fucking bridge. That's my hangover. Drug dealing, though, chef's kiss, loved it. Definitely saw it coming from super early on, and we just had to wait for the characters to catch up to the memo, but I really appreciated that. And Winstead, however you say your name, do you drug deal? I mean, like, you put together a really great drug ring there. That was brilliantly thought out. So thank you. Also, justice, oh my god, fucking justice for the fact that the preacher is the one doing the dark arts in this whole thing. He did the sacrifices, he did the carving on the trees. Like, yes, 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 oh my god. What a better ending. Like, I love that part. I approve of that message. I think that it was really a fuck you to religion. But I just really, really like that she went there with it. Again, this is, you want me to like one of your books, you just gotta go there. You just gotta go there with the story. And I just appreciated it. Again, just another notch of why this book was 5 stars for me. And can I just not do any of my other reading and just get another one of her books? Has anyone read any more other books by her? Because I also feel like from her acknowledgments, I think it sounds like she has a wide setting for all of her books. So have you read any more? Which ones do you recommend? Give a girl a recommendation, drop a comment below, and let me know what I should read by her next. Thank you so much, friends, for watching this review. I hope you liked it, and if you did, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, and also make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my book reviews that I do. Also, don't forget to check out the podcast on the same channel that I co-host with a friend. We host a book club as well as talk about being creatives in today's age with everything going on. And again, if you'd like to get your own copy, make sure to use my bookshop.org link below. It helps me keep all the lights on and to keep producing great content for all of you. But thank you so much, friends, and I hope you have an amazing reading day.